an equal amount of time to get in there.
So these riders are certainly making a good job of the centre line, which
Yes,
can...
they are.
Yep.
Actually, we're sitting pretty much behind it, and we haven't had anybody with quarters all over the place. It's been really good. And that's what I said about making an impression when you come in. If you come in looking very competent, it gives the judge a good impression about your ability as a rider.
These are very measured steps.
Yes,
They
yes.
kept the rhythm, kept the solid tempo.
And if we were looking from the side, I would expect he'd cover quite a lot of ground, wouldn't you?
Should score well. Okay, now we'd like to see a bit more bend.
A bit more bend, yes.
And again, it's hurried, isn't it? Yeah, sorry.
Yes, I'm just going to say, she hasn't actually half-halted him back enough to make that circle. He can't quite cope with it at the speed he was travelling.
And certainly the shoulder in could have had a clearer three
bend,
tracks.
yes.
It was a regular walk.
It's a little bit, for me, it's becoming what I would call marginal.
It certainly is now.
Yeah. It's of the ones that I've witnessed here, this is actually not the cleanest.
Best.
No,
Right.
no. Sometimes it's just because of the effort to collect the horse. So we look very carefully at the extended walk.
And you don't see it's not as evident.
You don't see it as evident here. So it's probably a function of the horse's tension. Yes.
The walk is very fragile, really, and it's something that riders, if a horse has a good walk, it's
something to
it's very
hold on
special.
to.
Yes, has a coefficient as well in the
Yes,
test of 2 marks. So if you have a good walk, you can really score well with it. And again, the half plus is the same as the other way. Yes. So then the judges would be thinking about his lateral suppleness.
Right. It starts to come into you're thinking about your collective marks. It's not quite, the trot there wasn't quite as fluent as it could be. But it's a nice picture down the short side, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Just before that transition to canter. Quite engaged and quite uphill.
Well, maybe the transition could have been a bit clearer, more precise.
Yes.
They are allowed a few steps. It can be, is it three steps?
So,
yes. Otherwise it becomes too progressive, and we often say
there we have a problem.
it's blurred.
She's changed.
Yes. And again.
Well, she has to change in the corner,
that's right.
I think, yes.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So the rider then has to really work out
quick
and
to get it back.
and manage the problem. Yes.
Otherwise you lose a lot of marks if you do the change in the wrong place.
This half pass, I think, in canter was a bit better, wasn't it?
I was just thinking what you said about the transitions in the extensions, and very often you see a transition in. Whoops.
Oh, we have problems here.
Yes. But you don't see a transition
Out.
back.
That's
out of
right.
it again. Yes. Because the riders let it fade.
Yep. Or worse, it's heavy in the hand, and they're just using the corner to slow down.
Yes, that's right.
So those changes will have been quite expensive.
Yes. She needs to collect him more before the pirouettes.
It's very hard, isn't it? You can see exactly what happens when you don't.
Yeah.
So when we say a half halt, and a half halt is just it's a notification to the horse. It's like saying, "Excuse me, we're going to do something here.
We're not going to carry on along the diagonal. We're actually going to turn."
Yes.
That one, the quarters
Not
are
so
a little
supple,
bit in front as well.
And continued that way too.
Yes. So the word supple is coming up quite a lot of times in this test. So this is the way we derive our final marks. And she left, there he's late behind with the change. She left it late to ask the change anyway because she was in the track. And I said before he needs to make the transition and the change
on
before
the corner,
he
or
gets
on the diagonal,
the
yes.
boards,
Yes.
and there she should have asked earlier,
Yes.
and then he lost balance, and I think couldn't come through because of the corner.
That's right. It's a beautiful looking horse.
Yes.
But I'm sure she'll be happy with a lot of the work, but this last section of the